Michael's here. Get downstairs. Go, baby, go!
Well, Jamie Lee Curtis.
There you go.
She's had better days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, here we go. 11th installment of the Halloween franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rebooted by Rob Zombie, and Jamie Lee Curtis has appeared in the various sequels, but this one is a direct sequel to the 1978 original. So 40 years later, Michael Myers is out. He's bent on revenge. He goes after Laurie Strode, and it ignores all of the subsequent sequels. So it directly follows the events of the first one, the John Carpenter classic, which was essentially this tension-filled home invasion thriller. This one doesn't have as much tension, but it's got a lot of gore and visceral thrills and even some well-placed laughs. So it does have a little bit of campy humor, which I thought was kind of refreshing for modern audiences.
Well, the thing you're saying is 40 years later.
Yeah.
One, how much backstory do you need if you're walking in to watch this? And two, what is it that allows this franchise to survive 4 decades?
Don't worry about the backstory. The clunky writing will fill you in. It's very obvious, the narrative threads and the backstory. They do a good job of letting you know about the past, so if you haven't followed these movies, don't worry, you'll be totally up to speed. This is all you need to know. It's a guy with a creepy mask, and he goes around killing people in a domestic neighborhood sort of thing. It does strain credulity as well, because like Michael Myers walks like a lumbering zombie through these neighborhoods, and there's cops everywhere, yet they still can't find him, right? But it's cool because Laurie Strode now is a grandmother. She's dealing with her past trauma, and that has an effect on her daughter and her granddaughter, so it does a good job of examining the toll that the events of the first one took on her and her family years later. And it has some timely themes. It looks at mental illness, recalling past trauma, post-traumatic stress syndrome, even gender fluidity and things like that. So, yeah, I thought it had a refreshing old-school vibe, but it was really contemporary as well. And John Carpenter, him and his son do the music for it, just like in the original. Carpenter does most of the music in his movies. And the opening credits are lifted right from the 78 original. So I love those kind of cheeky little references.
For people that love the franchise, or maybe if you haven't seen it, how many hammers this weekend for Halloween?
It's a just above average horror thriller, but if you like the slasher films and you like the series, you're probably going to like it. 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get the scares just in time for Halloween. What about the battle of addiction with Beautiful Boy?
Yeah, the cycle of addiction is examined in this pretty harrowing family drama starring Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet, based on 2 separate memoirs. Take a look at this.
You think that you have this under control. Mm-hmm. And I understand how scared you are.
I understand why I do things. It doesn't make me any different, all right? I'm attracted to craziness, and you're just embarrassed because I was like, I was like this amazing thing, like your special creation or something, and you don't like who I am now.
Yeah? Who are you, Nick?
This is me, Dad. Here, this is who I am.
Wow. Such a relevant topic you're covering with drug addiction. But does the movie address how you become an addict versus just being one, and then what happens after of escaping this dangerous cycle?
I feel like it was a little bit simplistic in its approach. This movie is all about the powerhouse performances from Chalamet, who is incredible. What a rising talent this guy is. If you saw Call Me By Your Name, you'll know. And if you didn't see that movie, go check it out. And Steve Carell, I mean, continues to impress me with his dramatic roles. This movie is really about them because it does have a little bit of a Hallmark treatment. It has these needless flashbacks, major pacing issues, and it does get kind of repetitive when it goes back to his relapse and recovery. But that is essentially a lot of the problems that families face with drug addiction and things like that. So the movie itself, pretty mediocre, but you want to see it for these compelling performances, and they do anchor it very well despite some flaws.
How many hammers?
3 out of 5.
Okay.
There you go.
2 threes on the board this weekend. Thank you, sir.